Alright, let's get into it. 3 worst healthcare stocks 2024. Now, it seems like all of these have to do with litigations and lawsuits, and which may or may not have led to financial instability. I guess it depends on which company we're looking at. But first up is Teva Pharmaceutical Industries. They've definitely taken a hit. They're just a little bit above their 90s rates. They're right at their early 2000s rates. That's where they're at. Interesting. They've been around for a while though, since '82. But that's just the stock price. So it is possible that they're just at a discount right now because they've done some questionable things, maybe. I mean, we'd have to dig into all that, and we're not going to do that today. But ChatGPT says, Teva Pharmaceutical Industries Limited has legal issues including opioid litigation, heavy debt load, and pricing pressures in the generic drug market have impacted its performance. Oops. So I'm not sure exactly what all that means, but we'll just look at the financials here. So they gross around $16 billion a year, it looks like, or less, especially now. Maybe that's because of the drop in their faith to them. They have negative income expenses, which I'm always confused about what that means. Maybe we should take a look into that one of these days, but not today. Right now, we're just going to look at the total revenue and the total expenses. High total expenses, but still below their total revenue each year by about $3 billion. Yeah, so they keep it within about $3 billion, except for 2022. That was pretty tight compared to what most of their years are. Not terrible. It's a lot of money. So that means that they're potentially, theoretically, taking $3 billion home each year after all of their expenses. Let's look at the balance sheet. If we look at that, we got a declining balance sheet, but that happens sometimes, especially if they're facing litigation and other legal issues. And their total debt is going down, which can be a good thing, but it can mean that they're not trying to expand a lot, probably because they're trying to plug these holes, which to me speaks to them being responsible. I know this is supposed to be the worst stocks to invest in. I guess it depends on what worst means. There's a moral aspect, which is probably what ChatGPT is talking about, unless it's really thinking in short term, which I'm not. I'm thinking long term here. It does seem like they're doing decent with the books, if that's what's happening. They're slowing down on their debt, paying it off, and they are losing total assets, probably because they're liquidating some stuff, which is not great, but it can be okay. So they do carry cash, and they still actually have a good amount of cash. I mean, that's 1.8 billion in 2020, now they're at 1.5 billion in 2023 last year. And then they have the cash equivalents, which actually have increased since 2020, which is interesting. So I don't know what cash equivalents necessarily means. Maybe gold? It's probably just a lot of different things. That's interesting. Their inventory is about the same. Not a lot of changing there. Their finished goods increased a little bit, but it seems like that's pretty close to baseline if you look at 2020. But that's just looking at 3 years, so we don't know everything. Okay, now let's go back to the income statement, see if we can see their operating expense. So I don't have a lot of information here, but it doesn't look like their operating expenses decreased. So that's kind of a good thing. It means that they're still trucking along. Doesn't seem like this is affecting them too much. Morally, that's a whole other thing. We're not getting into that. We're just looking at the financial aspect of the viability of this business, which is pretty much what I've been doing. We can definitely look at some morality stuff and get into some philosophy and all that. But let's feel this out first, see what everybody wants to listen to and hear more about. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's go on to Malenko. You know what? Let's actually do it like this, so it's easier for me to go back through this and put these in the show notes. So, okay, this is the wrong, crap. I just opened the wrong stock. Okay, I hate when it does that. I don't know why it does that freezing thing. MNK, are they even around anymore? They're not listed here. So interesting. Let's see. I mean, unless they just rebranded. They're here. Maybe they went private from being public. I'm gonna try searching for them this way. They don't show up. Okay. Financials. This is the first time that we've had this issue. Annual reports, and we could. Okay, no, I see it here. Maybe they just have a different name? No. They're just not showing up. They're not showing up in here. If you look at these annual reports, maybe we can find Market Watch. So this looks like this is from them. And they do company, they acquire other businesses, it looks like, which is kind of cool. Interesting. Probably want to look at annual reports, and then we'd want to see, maybe it's a proxy statement. Not sure what we're looking at here. Let's just look at the proxy statement and see if that gives us anything graphically that we're looking for, because I don't really want to read through a bunch of stuff on this, at least. Alright, nope, not seeing anything of for what I'm trying to find, at least. Okay. Yeah, so here's, this is cool. So we have something here for Market Watch for, wait. Huh. Is this not, are they just not listed anymore? Am I misreading this? Minerals Technology Inc. is not MNK. Or if it is, I mean, that's weird. Okay, well, they're gone or something. No idea what happened to them. We could read this. Mallinckrodt beats Q2 earnings and revenue estimates. That was 4 years ago. Almost, yeah, 4 years ago in a month. But they are off the map as far as public records go. So we'll just have to move on from that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it just went so bad that they totally liquidated. You know, I just want to see. Still public? Has suspended trading. Whoa. Where does this come from? This is Reuters. How old is this? So this is from last year. and some change. We'll go. Whoa. Okay, so I think they got delisted. The New York Stock Exchange said it has suspended trading in Mallinckrodt's ordinary shares with immediate effect and has commenced proceedings to delist them from the exchange, which seems like that's what we're seeing. Mallinckrodt, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry. Mallinckrodt, which makes both branded and generic drugs, had first filed for bankruptcy in 2020 to address its high debt load, litigation over its marketing of highly addictive generic opioids, and disputes over its drug pricings. Wow, so that's not great. I mean, it doesn't look like you could invest in them right now. Maybe they still exist privately. It looks like that they have a website still, so they're probably still doing stuff. They're just in a pain pinch. I wonder what that means for anyone who had stock with them. I think you get to keep that. It just can't do anything through the New York Stock Exchange. Maybe there's another stock exchange that you can do business, brokerage that you can get their shares from. Probably. Wow. So, as a part of its plan to emerge from bankruptcy in June 2022, the company, which denied wrongdoing, agreed to pay $1.7 billion to settle about 3,000 lawsuits alleging it is used deceptive. That's not the proper English. I think it should have been, it has used deceptive marketing tactics to boost opioid sales. So I don't know what that necessarily means. Perhaps, I don't know, they probably just oversold. They said they were gonna give you this to get the moon, and they gave you a rock. Mallinckrodt said in court filings on Monday it believed it had addressed its liquidity problem after the earlier reorganization plan cut $1.5 billion from its debt, but declining sales for its key branded drugs, including its most valuable drug, Actar Gel, left it unable to manage scheduled payments. So, it seems like they're in a bit of a tailspin. Interesting. Well, I'll link that one. Let's move on to the next one. Amarin Corporation PLC. I'm not sure what a PLC is, but here it is. Oh. Wow. Okay. Well, hey, we can look at the financials, and it's very cheap. It's still on the exchange. It's less than $1. I honestly might buy into this if the financials look okay. So, patent litigation challenges. Competition from generic versions of its flagship product, Vascepa, also not great, and lower than expected sales have affected its stock price. So that's pretty bad. Let's look at the financials. I do want to know more about this Vascepa, because I personally will probably invest in this if I think that this company could get out of this. I mean, this could be a gem in the rough. Is that what you call it? Diamond in the rough? Icosapent ethyl is used along with certain other cholesterol medications, statins. Okay, so it's for heart problems, I think, yeah. To reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and certain types of heart problems. I mean, digging into this, it could be good. I don't know what to think about that. Let's just go to this. Yeah, so they don't make a lot compared to some of the other ones, but it's still a lot of money, right? That's hundreds of millions of dollars. but it is declining in revenue in 2020. Actually, okay, we didn't even see. Let's look at the summary. Let's see when they posted public here. Okay, so 93. They've been around for a little while. They did okay, and then they just haven't come back. I mean, they've just been doing terrible. Wow. What? Wow, I mean, that's really wild. So they started at... Is that possible? Is that the number? Am I reading this right? Am I having like some issues going on in my head? There's no way this stock was $1,000 in the 90s. Over $1,000. That's what it looks like it's trading for. Maybe the stock split and then got cheaper. I don't know. Volume 2,400. I mean, the volume has increased a lot. So, but I think that's just on the day. And obviously, a lot more people are involved than they used to be back in the day. I don't really know what to think about this. It's wild seeing it ever be up there past 1,000, especially in the 90s. I don't know. Well, that means, I mean, they've held on strong. They have no dividends. This is not looking like growth, but they've held on. So it's one of those stocks where maybe it could be something. Probably more of a day trade type of deal, though. Like, went up by 7%. Since okay, yeah. So what is going on? I don't know. Maybe I just never looked at the day. But 7. Yeah, I don't know what to think about this one. But yeah. Anyway, so let's go back to here. The financials. 600 million in 2020 and down to 306 million. This is revenue, total revenue in 2023. And then we look at their total expenses and wow. Yeah, I mean, they're underwater. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'm wrong, but they're over by, tens of millions. Okay, well, okay. That was 2020. They were over by like 15, 18 million, something like that. Expense to revenue. They were under in 21. They were over again by, wow, that was like almost $100 million right there. That they were over, total expenses over revenue. And then 60 million last year. This is looking like they are just, I mean, maybe if we look back further, there was other dire moments like that, but that looks terrible. This is probably one of the ones that I've seen recently that is like, this is bad. This is bad. But again, I'm not a financial expert. I don't know a whole lot about this stuff. This could be normal practices for them. Maybe they've got out of tougher spots than this. Looks like sometimes they hold cash. They didn't announce any cash. It's just blank. And the cash equivalents is just blank. I don't really know what that means. I feel like it would be a 0 if there was 0. So maybe they just don't want to show what they got. Who knows? Anyways. Yeah. Total assets went from almost $1 billion, 966 million in 2020 to just a little bit less than that. I mean, if we're looking at hundreds of millions, right? 831 million in 2023, and their total debt is really low. So they're keeping it manageable. Again, Not something I thought about a lot before, but I'm realizing it is important after just talking to some people about it. Higher debt, that leverage means that they're investing in something. This debt, this low debt of, not even 10 million, except for in 2022, $10 million debt means that they are playing it close to the vest. I bet that a lot of that's just the revenue issues that they have, maybe spreading it out. Not a bad plan, but they're gonna keep chewing away at what they got. And if we look at their income statement to see what their operating expenses, yeah, so that, that's reducing quite rapidly. What were the issues they had? So litigation is probably destroying them, and then just being outcompeted by generic things for like their most important, their flagship product. Yeah, and so it looks like, without knowing what these are specifically, and we're not going to, okay, salary and wages. Yeah, at least they're showing us, but either people are getting paid a lot less year over year, or more likely people are just getting fired, or leaving, and they're just not increasing the budget, they're keeping it the same. To me, this looks like a company that's on its way out. So, I'm not saying sell, but if I had it, I probably would, unless I knew something else or had a strategy. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. I would not buy Amarin Corporation's PLC unless you know something. Or maybe if you're a day trader, I guess. Anyways, that's it. Take care.